do the same thing. If we don't see it in heaven, we shouldn't be doing it. If God's not saying it, don't do it. Wait until you have that unction. Wait until you see it. And many times we have seen things in our lives and we misunderstood what God was up to, because God's always up to something. He's telling you what to do. It's just a matter of having a listening ear to hear. My sons hear my voice and they follow me. Sometimes God, love, which is God, is going to tell you to do things that are absurd. People are going to think it's stupid. But when you do them, when you do what God's telling you to do, all the power of heaven backs you up. You'll lay hands on that person that's dead, and they'll be raised from the dead, because that's what you see. You see your Father doing it. You'll come to the next person. If you didn't see it in the Spirit, you raising that person from the dead, most likely it's not going to happen. You have to see it in the Spirit. This is a big difference between the people that walk in love, in a love-fest relationship with God, and people who just have principles. Well, I tried it, my faith didn't work. No, it didn't work. It's out of relationship. It's just not all the things that we've learned. It's out of relationship. It's out of seeing what the Father does and acting on it. That's faith. You have to see it first. You can see it in the Scriptures. Unless God makes a revelation to you, you can act on it all day long. It may not work, but if you see it by the Spirit, it becomes revelation, and God puts it down in your heart, in your spirit. You can act on that, and all of heaven will back you up. Every time. Your faith will work. You'll be encouraged. You'll encourage others. But it's out of that love that you have for God. You see, faith works by love. Faith works by love. Galatians chapter 5, verse 6. So 1 John chapter 4, I'm going to begin in verse 7. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God. And everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. He who does not love does not know God, for God is love. In this love, the love of God was manifested towards us, that God has sent his only begotten Son into the world that we might live through him. Key. Verse 9 is key for this. It's crucial. You can't get past this. This has to be done before you move on. You have to understand, if you're going to walk in the love of God, it's going to have to be him living his life through you. It can't be you trying to live through principles to make this happen, because you're going to be disappointed in yourself. You'll never live up to that, because this is spiritually done, not physically done. It's spiritually done. You bring it into the physical realm, but it's by the Spirit. He lives his life through you, through me. That's the only way it's done. We're talking about supernatural love, agape love. I've seen many people that say they love me, and I didn't experience the love of God through those people. I've told people that I loved them, and it wasn't the love of God when I walked in my flesh. You see, there's two types of people. You have some that love really genuinely through the Spirit, and some that force it through the flesh. You see, the man of God is not supposed to strive. We're not to strive at love. We're supposed to be love. That's who we are. We don't strive at it. The man of God does not strive. You can't work this up. This is beyond you. You can say to your loved ones, I love you, but it's a love without God. It's a love merely to get what you want. It's not necessarily pure. It's not that agape love that's pure, that doesn't require anything in return. Ephesians chapter 3 says, I'm not going to have you go through, I'm just going to quote it for you. Chapter 3 has a prayer in there. And I want every one of us to go to chapter 3 after the sermon. Look up chapter 3. If you're writing down something, write chapter 3 down. It's about verse 14. Starts in a prayer Paul prays. And in part of that prayer, and I'd pray the whole thing, but part of that prayer, I encapsulated that certain part in my spirit. It says that I may know this love that surpasses knowledge, the intellect. It surpasses knowledge, that I may be filled with all the fullness of God. With all the fullness of God. This is so crucial.